May 7th, 2021. What does that make me? It's a very important day. Something really big happened. Yeah, it is a big day. It's a day this video being recorded. It's a nice Friday. Yeah, look, everyone there, he's really happy. So next numbers, whole bunch of number we say 0507 2021. And there's a way to say it. As we all grow up, we come across a lot of numbers in our class, in our life, when we buy stuff, it's numbers, numbers, numbers. And most people feel numbers are boring, difficult, hard to understand, so abstract. But can we say number in a way that people is like, wow, that number is interesting. That number catch my attention. And this is our topic of today, the episode of numbers. So we will just present two simple examples, one from a great comedian late night host to show you what's the best way you can possibly say number to engage people. The other one is from our boss, the president of the United States. And yeah, he's not really our boss. The boss of Americans, sorry, Aaron, yes, no, our boss of Americans, how he's in such a power way of saying the number literally, physically, and ideally, put me to sleep. So my whole level of my body just goes good and bad. What you should do, what you shouldn't do. Simple as that. That's today's video. Anything you want to add on, Aaron, there?
Nope.
No? Okay.
Get this done.
We can all see Aaron love numbers.
Oh yeah, math is my favorite.
He loves it. Okay, then let's jump right in. So first one up will be our less ideal example.
State and local governments had to lay off 1.6 million employees. That's an awful lot of firefighters, police officers, sanitation workers, essential workers. But later this month, we're going to be distributing the first tranche of the state and local assistance from the American Rescue Plan. We won't get all 1.6 million of those jobs back in 1 month, but you're going to start seeing those jobs and state and local workers coming back. Starting this month, we will also deliver assistance to tens of thousands, and as I notice every Republican in our home state talking about this as being a good idea, tens of thousands of restaurants and bars across the country. And by the way, the majority of the jobs that have come back have been in the entertainment and in those industries. And so, you know, we're going to help schools and children and child centers across the country as well accelerate reopening, and that's underway. So look.
Okay, that was the first video. Wow, I just want to say wow, that ending. We will come back to that comment. Now let's roll the second tape of one great example. I personally really like it.
And less wills and burying. The U.S. met Biden's target of 100 million shots 42 days early. So Biden doubled it to 200 million doses. And we've met that one too. True, we're still not out of the woods, but at least no one's telling us to inject the trees with bleach. Now, COVID didn't just attack our health. It also decimated our economy, which is why on March 11th, Biden signed the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, giving $1,400 to individuals, $350 billion to state and local governments, $14 billion for vaccine distribution, and $130 billion for school reopenings. And of course, an automatic 18% gratuity for parties of 6 or more. I assume some of that school reopening money went toward electrifying fences to keep out Matt Gaetz.
The big difference that I see here is one of emphasis. When you look at someone like Stephen Colbert, he's trying to make sure everything is exciting and engaging to listen to because his job is to keep people watching. So the way he says different numbers is always designed to engage attention. So when he says a big number, 200 million, for example, He says the 200 quickly. He says the mil, faster or louder, 200 million, and slows down that word. So he says 200 fast, million louder, slower, to really emphasize just how big it is. However, when he talks about, say, 42 days, which he said in there, he says only 42 days, everything's emphasized. He extends the words. He makes them really pop for us. So it seems just how impressive that is. Only 42 days, right? When we emphasize 200 million, you're emphasizing the biggest part, right? So he's making different things stand out for different sizes of numbers and different types of numbers. He's making them pop in different ways. And by doing that, he keeps it interesting. Numbers are famously boring. Numbers are famously abstract, right? If I say a trillion, that doesn't mean anything to anyone, right? Without any kind of indication of how big that is, I don't know, right? Like you could say, oh, it's a trillion miles from here. And I'm like, well, how far is that? If that doesn't, like, is that like here to the moon? No, it's way farther, right? I don't really know what that means, especially since I said miles, and I have no concept of how far a mile is compared to a kilometer. But at the end of the day, when you say numbers, you need to do something to keep my attention. You need to do something to put them in context. So when I say 200 million, you see how big that is, right? So I need to put it in context, because unless I'm going to physically pile 200 million items in front of you, it doesn't mean anything. So I give you context by emphasizing it. If you don't do these things, you don't make them interesting, you don't make them understandable, you end up with what Biden did, where he did put the emphasis on the MIL and million when he said million, but his voice is flatter than that. There's 1.6 million. And then he just talks about tens of thousands. I'm not really getting, if I didn't hear the rest of the sentence, I wouldn't have a feeling for how impressive or unimpressive or what emotion I'm supposed to be feeling when I hear these things. It doesn't mean anything. And to be honest, because he also doesn't use a lot of other delivery skills that I think are really important, I do lose focus on what he's saying. And if I'm already losing focus on the parts of what he's saying that aren't numbers related, when he starts saying numbers to me, someone who is bad at math, someone who doesn't do well with number, I guess, comprehension and visualization, I'm going to struggle to keep up if he's not making it engaging somehow. And I think that's the difference. If your focus is making it exciting, you emphasize. You put these numbers in context, you make them understandable and enjoyable. If your job isn't to keep it engaging, you're not going to do those things, and you're going to end up with an audience that doesn't really care. They're going to have to be very content driven, very much focused on what is being said, not how it's said. And I think most people are more affected by delivery than they are by content. That's my take on it.
Very good and fair enough. I agree with your evaluation on numbers. Let me ask you one question. Mm-hmm. How soon did you give up listening to Joe Biden in his 40-second video?
15 seconds, maybe. I didn't last long. I really tried. I swear I tried, but my slight attention deficit disorder definitely made it an issue for me to actually focus on it, because I don't think I made it more than 15 or 20 seconds. I definitely did not make it past the halfway mark. I think I probably made it 10 or 15.
How about from the Colbert one?
I think this is pretty much the whole time. I'd seen clips of it before, chunks of it before, so there were elements that I already knew, but I was much more interested, and I remember the numbers better, right? I remember going from 100 million doubling to 200 million doses. I remember that. 42 days was when they hit the 100 million mark. I remember that, right? So I remember more. It engaged me more. I can't remember. He said, I think 1.9 trillion is another number I remember. I don't remember the context.
You are right about that.
Okay, thank you. I'm not stupid yet. I still got a few more years till I hit that. But at the end of the day, it's the amount I remember from his is so much more. I remember the numbers that Biden mentioned vaguely because we are talking about numbers. If it wasn't for that, I would not have remembered them.
Interesting. So that is the thing, though. Everyone hasn't changed in last 5 minutes we placed 2 clips. I hope that's the same error, right? So the only thing changed are the 2 speakers. And we pick the video intentionally. They talk about the same content. So then we can dissect out the only thing changed is delivery. So that's how a little experiment I'm running on using Aaron as a guinea pig. Sorry, Aaron. I meant running some experiment on you. Haven't been approved ethically, but I hope you're okay with it. Doing this, just want to do a live demonstration. I don't think there's any more I can say about how important of the delivery means. What I do want to bring up is interpretation for the numbers. So both speakers, they all give their own meaning to the numbers in a very different way. Joe Biden is feeling like he talk about number and then, by the way, this idea jump in my head, but I cannot control it. I have to say it now. I cannot wait. I have to say it now. So he break a number, mention something all the different, and then come back to the same number. It's very confusing. My face screw up. Like, why isn't that relevant? Like, why? Why couldn't you finish a number and then talk about your Republican colleagues, what they trying to do, right? Just wait a bit. Colbert, on the other side, he gave his interpretation too when he talked about how much vaccine is introduced into our arm. Right? He said it's doubled, and we achieve the goal even when it's doubled. And that's interpretation built into how the number, built into the relationship of the number of the doubling. So that makes a lot of more sense to me. And then when he present a list of number, millions, job, and this and that, you can clear catch each unit because of the pause. And then at the end, the last number 1.9 trillion, even Aaron, that sounds bad. Aaron catch the number.
Are you, buddy?
That's because cannot pay attention to Joe. If Joe said the number at the end, he probably just totally let it go. He's like probably 0.9 or something. And so that's the power. There's nothing wrong with Aaron. He can listen to numbers. It's only the problem of the presenters. So for all the, even there's kids out there, all the teenagers, if you struggle with your number and math in the class, a good chance is not because you're not good at math. It might be because your teacher is not engaging. So you might feel like, what are you talking about? So that's the power of delivery. That's a demonstration of how to present numbers. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I do just want to add one thing about what you said about teachers. I think teachers and the way these things are presented have a bigger impact on if people enjoy math than it does about natural aptitude. When I look at myself, I say I'm bad at math. I actually did fairly well at math at school. I was not a prodigy, but I did well enough until I had a teacher I didn't like. And after that, mark's gone, right? So it is a huge way of how it's a huge proportion of the issue or the challenges with math that people face is how it's presented to them. I've often thought that if we taught art the way we taught math, we would teach art by getting people to paint fences. I'm pretty sure I heard that as a quote somewhere, because we teach math in the most boring way possible in a lot of ways. And it's up to the teachers to make it interesting. It's unfortunate. But that's my piece. Either way, think about the numbers you present. Think about how you present them. Are you making them abstract? Are you making them boring? Because it's your call. Your delivery, your content decides if the numbers are engaging. If you do it in a way that's boring, or if you do it in a way that's abstract, you will lose your audience, whether you like it or not.
Couldn't say anything better.
And thank you very much for listening to us rant and ramble. And we'll see you next week. Stay fishy out there.
Here's ZAPY speaking. See you.